Hey, Mountain Vista Community Church, how are you guys doing? So it is Sunday morning. It's the end of August, end of another summer coming up. I'm looking forward to September. Next week we'll be doing full setup again, and I'll be continuing. I'll be preaching. We'll have the stage, curtains, everything all set up. I'll be preaching, continuing our series on James. We'll be in James chapter 3. This week, Rick is doing James chapter 2, still in more of the Bible study format. But then again, next week, back to our regular programming. Wanted to also talk to you guys just candidly about where the church is at and where I'm at and things. Made it through the summer, which was kind of touch and go, but we did a special campaign to raise some extra funds at the beginning of the summer. You may remember I challenged people to give above and beyond. I was trying to raise $20,000 above and beyond regular giving. We almost did that. We got close. It got us through the summer. We still tried our kids program. Didn't go as we had hoped for, but we did have some kids that we were able to minister to, and I was excited to see the ministry that did happen this summer, as well as not just the kids ministry that happened, but also the impact that we've had on Terry and others who've commented as they've shared testimonies Sunday mornings in our Bible study group that God's just been using that intimate discussion-oriented format in their lives to really encourage them. So definitely it's been a great summer. Hopefully you got away with your family and had some time to recreate and rest. As we look into the fall, it's usually a momentum time for us. Unfortunately, last fall was not, neither was the spring. That's why we found ourselves in a tight financial spot this summer. So praying that God does something big in our church this fall to give us some new momentum. Resources is a big part of that. I don't know the answer to that. We'll just keep praying and watching for what God has in store. If he doesn't do something big soon, we're going to need to make probably some more adjustments as a church and just accept that maybe God's calling us to be a small church, maybe a home church, to focus on intimacy and fellowship. Personal impact. We're always going to have an impact as a church. The question is the scale of that impact. Are we going to do it in a small scale or a large scale? But we're always going to focus on transformation that comes from the gospel, teaching God's word, preaching the gospel, mentoring, encouraging one another, helping to equip each other to serve his body. That's our focus as a church. We're raising up leaders. We have leaders in our church that are very effective and impactful, and I'm so glad to work with them. We have, I'll just mention them real quick. Scott Lowe has been an elder at our church for many years and been crucial in helping me. There was a period of time where it was just him and I that were the elders of the church. And then now we've added also a couple pastors to that team, Pastor Rick and Pastor Sean. So between the four of us, we've been sharing the leadership, the preaching team, the three of us, plus earlier a couple of our younger guys had helped us out too with the preaching. So God's been providing leaders. God's been I know impacting lives, and we've seen people growing. We've seen leaders developed. We've seen people baptized. And so it's been very exciting for me, even though it's been on a smaller scale. So will you pray with me, though? I'm going to, as the lead pastor, because we're smaller scale now, I'm going to step back officially as lead pastor and just be one of the pastors. So there's three of us pastors, along with Scott as an elder. The four of us will be leading the church as kind of as equals. And there's no need for I think for me to be designated as a lead pastor for a small church. So I'll just be more in an advisory consulting role, and we'll continue to try to reach out to Sienna Hills here, if that's God's will. I'm praying for somebody to come along and maybe some sort of large donation or an inheritance or something, because this community we're in here, we've got this beautiful park right behind us, a great facility for doing church and for youth activities and kids. The park right next door. We've got all the houses that are building up all around us. There's literally thousands of people within a mile of this location that need Jesus Christ. Easy access to the freeway and to shopping and restaurants and of course Starbucks, and it's really a great location. God may be leading us to leave this location. If he does, I'm just going to pray that God raises up a church planner that we can hand off this location to, and that they can continue to work at building a ministry center and outreach to this neighborhood. So will you pray with me about all of that? If we need to at some point look, and Rick and I have talked about that, and and I know it may be that God is just leading us to make a change as far as location too. So we're praying about that possibility, especially if we could find something that we could own that would be ours 24/7, where we could even do, we've talked about doing a preschool ministry. Maybe that would even extend up into a kindergarten, preschool and kindergarten ministry. So these are things that we're praying about. God can do any of this. It's easy. When we started the church, we had 11 adults. It's a calling, a vision that we have. It's leadership. And if we have leadership and we have calling and a vision for what we're doing and for what the need is in the area, that's all we need. And we need to believe too that God can do anything. And so we launched this church with 11 adults. So don't ever doubt what God can do. So we're just going to trust him and see what his plan is moving forward. And my question for you guys, I'm going to leave you with this, is what if God did drop $1 million on our doorstep? What would you like to see our church do with that? There's 100 different directions we could go if we had a bunch of resources suddenly available to us. What do you think would be the best way for us to proceed if we suddenly had a large donation given to the church? I want us to think about that, because we know by faith it could happen. And so by faith, we're going to at least discuss it and talk about it. And if it doesn't happen, then we will be content with being more of a small scale church moving forward. All right, guys, thanks for your prayers and your support. I love you all, and I love the friendships that we have and the fellowship that we have together.